Funeral service was held this morning for longtime Kentucky lawmaker Darrell Owens. Owens died last week at the age of 84. He served as Kentucky's first black assistant attorney general. He was elected in 2005 to Kentucky House District 42 until he retired in 2018.
And in 13 years of distinguished service, he earned respect from everybody, from across the aisle, from across all different groups of folks that come up to that Capitol. This man was respected, and he rose to the rank of chairman of the House Judiciary Committee.
Today's service was held at St. Stephen Baptist Church. A teenager is expected to recover from a shooting in the Algonquin neighborhood. That shooting happened around 5:30 last night at the Parkway Place Apartments on South 12th Street. Police say the boy was shot several times. At this time, no arrests have been made. Tonight, the Jefferson County School Board will meet to discuss putting safety officers in schools. The Advisory Council for Racial Equity shared a proposal Monday night. It included adding school safety officers who would patrol about 3 to 7 schools. They would be armed, sworn officers, but wouldn't serve inside the school. The council says they'd be in the geographic area, mostly in their cars, and could respond quickly. The proposal would also create safety administrators in each middle and high school to manage all safety issues. JCPS currently employs about 15 district security monitors who are sworn officers but are not armed. New at noon, an effort to allow excused absences for students dealing with mental health issues has cleared a hurdle and is now headed to the Kentucky House. That bill doesn't change the number of excused absences allowed, but it would include provisions for a student's mental or behavioral health. A House panel approved that bill, which won bipartisan support. It now goes to the full House next week. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb will deliver his State of the State address tonight. Holcomb plans to outline his priorities for the 10-week legislative session, as well as his year-long goals for the state as a whole. The governor will address a joint session of the Indiana General Assembly at 7 o'clock. Democratic leadership will offer their response following the governor's speech. Governor Beshear is taking more action to help hospitals in the Commonwealth. The governor says COVID hospitalizations have increased by 17% in the past 7 days. He's mobilizing about 445 National Guard members to help with 27 hospitals across the state.
Our prime concern on hospital capacity isn't physical infrastructure. It's the number of staff available to help, and that's why the National Guard is going to be helping.
Guard members will also be deployed to help with some nursing homes and other group settings. And hospitals across the country are struggling with an increase in COVID cases, staff shortages, and a national blood crisis, too. Michael George has more now from New York.
The U.S. has set an all-time high for COVID hospitalizations. There are more than 145,000 people hospitalized as of this morning, surpassing the 142,000 record set last January.
Back in my state, hospitals are asking our state leaders to declare a crisis for our medical facilities.
Doctors Rochelle Walensky and Anthony Fauci told senators hospitals are struggling with both the influx of new cases as well as staffing shortages.
Underscoring why it is so important for the unvaccinated to get vaccinated and for those who are already vaccinated to obtain the booster shot.
Hospitals are also dealing with a shortage of blood. Supplies are at such a dangerously low level, the American Red Cross has declared the first ever national blood crisis. Hospitalization rates are also up for children, especially kids younger than 5 who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated.
The children who are in the hospital now are largely those who are unvaccinated.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says more than 580,000 children tested positive for the virus last week, also an all-time high.
Schools having enough testing supplies to stay open is a critical priority for us.
In Chicago, students are expected back in the classroom tomorrow after the city and the teachers union reached a deal allowing individual schools to switch to remote learning if there's a COVID outbreak resulting in teacher absences.
Teaching remotely is 5 times harder for me. I know it's hard on my students, but it's a last-ditch effort to keep the ICU beds open.
More than 5,000 schools across the country have gone virtual since the beginning of the year. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Internationally, the World Health Organization warned that half of all people in Europe could be infected with the Omicron variant in the next 6 to 8 weeks. New at noon, a blood drive is being planned in honor of the late Muhammad Ali. The Red Cross blood drive will be held Monday at the Muhammad Ali Center. January 17th is Ali's birthday, and he would have turned 80 years old. Currently, the Red Cross blood supply is at a 10-year low for this time of year. We told you that earlier. If you'd like to donate blood next Monday, you can sign up online. It's really simple. All you have to do is make an appointment. Mo?
All right, yeah, if you are going to be headed out today, here's what you're going to need. Your sunglasses, but also maybe the heavier jacket and the mittens. You want the hat. It's going to be chilly out there. We'll finally get above freezing by the end of the broadcast. Holding on to the sunshine all day. Upper 30s later this afternoon. I think we'll top out at 40 between 3 and 5 o'clock. But it's going to be pretty much chilly all day long. Milder air is headed our way, though. Temperatures in the 50s. We'll talk about that coming up.
Today, the president and VP head to Georgia to advocate for voting rights reform. I'm Laura Podesta with how their plan may involve reshaping Senate rules.
Flights on the West Coast came to a standstill for a few minutes Monday. Around the same time, North Korea test-fired another suspected ballistic missile. As Tina Kraus reports, the U.S. and its allies are condemning that launch.
The U.S. says the North Korean missile didn't pose a threat, but around the same time it was launched, the FAA ordered some airports on the West Coast to halt ground operations. The stop reportedly lasted for about 7 minutes with no reason given. South Korea detected the suspected ballistic missile overnight, which landed in the Sea of Japan. The South says it flew faster than the one fired last week, which the North claimed was a hypersonic weapon. The launch came as the UN Security Council met in New York to discuss the country's growing weapons threat.
The DPRK's continued pursuit of weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs is a threat to international peace and security.
North Korea hasn't tested any long-range missiles that could directly threaten the U.S. since 2017. But since attempts at diplomacy collapsed in 2019 between leader Kim Jong-un and then-President Trump, the North's testing of short-range weapons has shifted into overdrive, including missiles hidden in and launched from a train. And a year ago, what appeared to be a submarine model literally paraded through the streets. Kim Jong-un made a New Year's resolution to bolster his country's military, even as the U.S. and its allies keep pushing him to back down from his nuclear ambitions. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And these recent tests are all in violation of several UN Security Council resolutions. Those resolutions ban North Korea from developing or testing ballistic missiles or nuclear devices. Today, President Biden and Vice President Harris are traveling to Georgia to advocate for voting rights. As Laura Podesta reports, their visit is happening in the midst of gridlock in Washington over new voting legislation.
The Commander-in-Chief and VP head south today to send a message about the future of America's democracy. Speaking in Atlanta, Biden and Harris are expected to push for passing federal voting rights legislation by next Monday's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
The president will forcefully advocate for protecting the most bedrock American rights.
The measures include national election standards, a national voter ID standard, same-day voting registration, and reducing big money in politics. Democrats are also hoping to pass a key tenet of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which forces states with a history of discrimination to clear any potential changes to election laws with the Justice Department. Many Republicans oppose more federal power over elections.
They've created a false narrative that somehow states in 2020 and in the past couple election cycles that are not capable of running a fair election. The day that you take power away from states to run federal elections is the day that America fundamentally changes in terms of how you vote.
President Biden has suggested he'd be open to changing Senate rules to allow bills to pass with a simple majority, a change that worries some Democrats.
We just need to be very cautious what we do. I'm hoping that we can come to an agreement to fix things. Every American has a right to vote and should be protected.
According to the Brennan Center for Justice, last year 19 states, most of them Republican-led, passed laws that make it more difficult to vote. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
President Biden and Vice President Harris are also planning to lay a wreath at the burial place of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and pay a visit to the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King served as co-pastor. New at noon, NASA's Mars rover ran into a bit of trouble while roaming the red planet. Literally, NASA says its Perseverance rover struggled to stow away its latest sample of the landscape. Apparently, rocks kept getting in the way. They obstructed the rover's robotic arm. Took NASA several days to fix that issue, partly due to communication issues since the rover is more than 200 million miles away.
From the pocket, launching downfield, underthrown and intercepted.
That interception sealed a long-awaited win for the University of Georgia. The Bulldogs defeated the Alabama Crimson Tide last night in the college football playoff national championship game in Indianapolis. Oh my goodness, the final score, 33-18. This is Georgia's first national title in football since the 1980 season. It's been a minute. And it's Georgia's first win against Alabama since 2007. Alabama was vying for its 7th national title since the 2009 season. You should have seen my family text message group chat going on last night. It was very robust as that game was being played.
Robust. That's a great word to describe it. You know,
Yes.
Going outside today, would we call the temperature robust?
Maybe. It felt robust on my way here for
Goodness
sure.
gracious. You know, at least the winds aren't too high, because otherwise getting slapped with some of those chilly winds in this temperature is quite rough. I do want to just get out of the way and show you this gorgeous shot, though. This is the Trimark traffic camera of the junction, and you have wall-to-wall blue blue skies out there. And I'll show you another view. This is from across the river at the Sheraton Hotel, pointing at downtown. It really is just beautiful, but you know, looks can be deceiving. It's chilly right now, 29 degrees, feeling closer to 23. That breeze out of the south at 6 miles per hour. The southerly flow is going to start warming us up by tomorrow, but it is very dry out there. So you're grabbing the sunglasses on your way out the door. You're bundling up. Maybe grab the chapstick too. Dew points when they're that low, feeling quite dry on your lips. Very chapped right now. All right, 30 in Bardstown. We're at 32 in Campbellsville. We're in the mid-20s in Seymour, 27 in Madison, and sitting at 28 in Paoli and Huntingburg. We are dry across the region. Clouds and radar showing a very quiet area. Now, we are going to start seeing your rain and snow chances pick up by later this week. And I'll walk you through on the Futurecast. Look at the clock. That's rolling and nothing is happening. This is my kind of forecast here. We're going to stay quiet all the way through tomorrow morning. Even at this point, we're barely seeing any passing clouds. Those will start to thicken up later on Wednesday, and that's when we're going to start to see that chance for some shower activity. Now, mainly that's going to stay off to the north. I think we'll stay dry Wednesday night, but Thursday, that's when the next system will try and roll in. And depending on the temperatures, we're seeing some spotty showers there in the morning. If temperatures get cold enough, especially in our southern Indiana communities, you may end up seeing a switch over briefly to a little bit of snow, but no accumulating there. And again, we could just have some spotty showers, points along the river and to our south. Now for Thursday night, that's when things start to clear back out again. For today, though, our forecast is just sunshine and chilly temperatures. 40 is about all we're going to get. And then for tonight, staying clear, quiet, not as cold as the last couple of nights. I think our overnight low is going to be closer to 30. We'll see 20s in the metro. For tomorrow, though, the milder air returns briefly, 51. So if you're tired of this cold, you're going to get a break tomorrow, but it doesn't last. So Thursday, that's when that system is going to try and sneak in, bring us some light rain and snow chances. And again, that's very spotty at this point. Mid-40s for the high. 41 on Friday. We'll stay dry there, but our next chance for a better chance for snow, that's going to happen as we get into the weekend, and it's going to be chilly. 36 both days. And Monday, we'll start to slowly trend milder, 38 on Monday, and then Tuesday we'll get back to the 40s, a little bit closer to normal for this time of year, which is 43 here in Louisville. Erica?
All right, Mo, sounds good. Looking good for tomorrow, especially. We appreciate it.
That's our pick of the weekend right here.
Yeah, I'm liking that one for sure. Let's just skip on to that. All right, Mo, thank you. Well, he needed a new heart, but the new organ isn't from a human. Coming up, details on this medical milestone that happened at a U.S. hospital. And coming up a bit later, footing the bill for an at-home COVID-19 test. We're going to tell you about a new requirement taking effect this weekend. But first, as we head to break, a look at the lottery jackpots. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $300 million. Wednesday's Powerball, $38 million. Today, there's new research showing how air pollution could increase the risk for COVID-19 and more evidence showing the benefits of a diet rich in olive oil. Bradley Blackburn has a look at some of the day's health headlines.
Researchers say long-term exposure to air pollution may heighten the risk of COVID-19 infection, especially for people 55 and older. The study, published in the journal Occupational and Environmental Medicine, found particulate matter like dust, soot, and smoke is the biggest concern because long-term exposure to air pollution can lead to inflammation and compromised immunity. Secondhand vaping is linked to respiratory problems in young adults, according to research in the journal Thorax. Scientists studied California teens exposed to secondhand nicotine vaping in their homes and found they were 40% more likely to report symptoms like a persistent cough or bronchitis and 53% more likely to have shortness of breath when compared to teens who hadn't been exposed. And there's more evidence that olive oil is a good ingredient for your health. Scientists say consuming a half tablespoon of olive oil or more per day may lower the risk of death from heart disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative diseases. The decades-long study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found replacing butter, mayonnaise, or dairy fat with olive oil could have similar benefits. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
In a medical first, doctors have transplanted a pig heart into a patient in a last-ditch effort to save his life. That surgery was done in Baltimore, and officials say the man is doing really well 3 days after that transplant.
This was his best hope of getting out of the hospital and having somewhat of a normal quality of life.
This pig heart has performed so far very well, even beyond our expectations.
So there have been prior attempts to transplant an animal organ into a human, but those have failed because the body rejects the organ really rapidly. This time, the pig that supplied the heart went through gene editing to remove cells thought to be responsible for rejection. Mo Rose, fascinating stuff there.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with technology these days. All right, let's talk about what's going on outside your window. It is cold, but it is sunny. We have 29 in the metro right now. It's feeling closer to 23 on your skin. We are going to be briefly milder, so a nice little warm up for the middle of the week. But then the temperatures start to tumble as we get to the weekend. We even have a couple of snow chances in there. We'll talk about that right after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WLKY News.
Hey, good Tuesday afternoon to you. Welcome back. I wanted to show you a live look at the beautiful view of the Louisville skyline right now. We are seeing quite a bit of sunshine today, although it's a little bit deceiving, Mo Rose, because you look at that and you think, oh, the sunshine, gotta have great temperatures. Not quite so much. A little chilly still this afternoon.
Oh yeah, we are not going to warm up too much, unfortunately. We're staying below normal with temperatures today, but things are going to start getting milder over the next 24 hours. Right now, though, look at this. I've got the clouds and radar. Nothing is happening. All that cloud cover is way off to the north, so we are going to be enjoying this wall-to-wall sunshine all the way till sun sets later on this evening. Now, right now, we're sitting at 29 degrees. The light breeze out of the south at 6 miles per hour actually makes it feel closer to 23 on your skin. If you are going to try and take a break in between NTI, if you got the kids at home, the park temperatures, they're cold too. So bundle the kids up if you want to take them out to the park. 29 at Blue Lick, 28 at Broad Run right now. We're at 30 at Cherokee Park and 28 at Shawnee. Looking at the rest of your afternoon, we are going to stay quite chilly. So again, you're going to want to be bringing the hat and mittens along with that heavy jacket and the sunglasses. Look at all that sunshine all the way through the afternoon. 33 after the broadcast, upper 30s by 3 o'clock. 39 around 5 o'clock. I think we'll actually hit 40 later on this afternoon with just lots of sunshine. Now, we are briefly milder, as I mentioned, for your Wednesday. We'll get to lower 50s in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, we're going to break it back down into the mid 40s with some spotty light rain showers mixing in with a few wet snowflakes as well. We even have another chance for some snow that comes up later in the weekend. I'll have those details coming up in about 10 minutes. Erica?
All right, Mo, thank you. JCPS students are learning from home today as the district returns to NTI. It's because of a staffing shortage caused by COVID. Currently, more than 700 staff members and at least 4,800 students are either positive or in quarantine. The plan is for students to return to the classroom next Tuesday. Officials hope that 11-day break will allow enough staff members to clear quarantine and return to work. Athletics and other extracurricular activities will continue as long as there's enough staff. Meals are being offered at some schools today and Thursday from 11 until 1. We've got more information on that on WLKY.com. And the Oldham County School District is requiring masks once again. The school board voted Monday to require all students, staff, and visitors to wear masks when indoors for the next 2 weeks. The district made masks optional in November, but with cases climbing, some parents started a petition to change that. Board members plan to review the county's COVID data and revisit the requirement at their next meeting. Meantime, Kentucky has updated its guidance for how schools should handle COVID cases. The state health department says schools with universal masking do not need to contact trace or require quarantines if somebody's exposed in the classroom. But schools which do not require masks should still do so for students and staff.
These two tasks, contact tracing and quarantine, are important in schools without universal masking because unrecognized persons are almost unrecognized sick persons with COVID-19 are almost certain to spread Omicron. And also because unmasked persons are more likely to catch Omicron from infected persons. It's all or none.
Students or staff exposed at home should stay home for at least 5 days until they're part of a test to stay program, and anyone who tests positive should do the same. First Lady Jill Biden still plans to visit Western Kentucky, and it has been rescheduled. She is set to visit Bowling Green on Friday. Dr. Biden will be joined by Governor Beshear and members of Congress. The First Lady was supposed to make the trip last week, you'll remember, but it was postponed because of that big winter storm we had. Meantime, Kentucky lawmakers are working on relief for tornado victims. A committee advanced House Bill 5 Monday. That bill and its equivalent in the Senate both allocate $200 million to tornado-ravaged communities. $30 million is reserved for schools in impacted areas. $15 million will go to provide housing solutions for displaced families.
You know, we know the need is going to be great, and it may be greater than $200 million. This is what the governor's asked for. We decided to set that aside and make sure that we will be able to come back, because the fact of the matter is we just don't know what we're going to need.
The House also passed a joint resolution to extend some executive orders related to the storms until the end of the legislative session. Metro EMS workers and 911 dispatchers will see more money on their next paycheck. Mayor Fisher announced a pay raise as part of an agreement with unions representing EMS and Metro Safe. It calls for an 8% raise for union members effective immediately. That's in addition to a 2% raise in July. The mayor said the across-the-board raises were deserved and necessary to maintain staffing and services. A multi-million-dollar investment is coming to the Russell neighborhood. Fifth Third Bank is teaming up with Louisville-based tech company Interapp to offer skilled job training. Our Marvis Herring has more on that new effort.
When you teach someone the skills that we teach someone, the sky's the limit for them.
Louisville-based tech company Interapp is helping solve a tech talent shortage while also promoting equity. Interapp and Fifth Third Bank are investing in 9 predominantly black U.S. cities across 7 states. Louisville's Russell neighborhood is on that list.
We are committing $180 million across these 9 neighborhoods, as she mentioned, in predominantly black and communities of color that really have experienced decades of disinvestment. It's time for us to band together and find better and different ways to support these communities. And this is an innovative way for us to do it.
As many as 100 people from those 9 neighborhoods will be chosen for in-depth training in the tech field. It's meant to be a pipeline to jobs at Fifth Third, whether in data analytics, software, or customer care.
Listen, I honestly don't feel like there's any other company that's going to support you in the way that they will.
Leah McIver went through an Interapp apprentice program in 2019 and 2020. Monday marked her first day as a team lead on a project with GE.
Within my last project, I said, I sometimes have to blink and I don't know how I made it here. Like, I don't know how all of this got to be what it is, but I mean, I'm grateful for it and I appreciate that Interapp is so supportive and it works.
McIver says she's already encouraging friends to check out the apprenticeships, adding that the pay is extremely competitive in the tech field. Interapp's founder and CEO says it's essential that they diversify the tech field across the U.S.
It's important to find people with diverse thought. It's important to find people with different backgrounds to contribute to teams. It's clear, the data is clear that diverse teams are more productive teams.
Marvis Herring, WLKY News.
That program will also invest in areas like affordable housing and minority business ownership. If you'd like to apply for the job training program, just visit the story on WLKY.com. And starting this weekend, your health insurance will cover the cost of rapid at-home COVID tests. Iexa Diaz is in our Washington bureau with how that new process is going to work.
Each covered person in your family can get up to 8 free antigen tests per month starting Saturday. These are the over-the-counter tests you find in pharmacies or online. The White House says you'll have 2 options to cover the cost. Show proof of your insurance to get the test for free, or pay for the tests up front and get reimbursed by your insurer. But check your policy before you buy, because insurers can choose which retailers they'll work with to cover the full cost. This program is separate from the Biden administration's plan to ship free COVID tests to households across the country. In Washington, I'm Iexa Diaz.
Meantime, the White House is pushing back the launch of a program to send free COVID-19 tests through the mail. The online ordering has been delayed to later this month. More details are expected later this week. U of L and UK students are back in class for the spring semester, and COVID protocols remain in place. Both schools report 91% vaccination rates on campus. There's weekly testing for unvaccinated students and staff. Masks are required in public indoor settings at both U of L and UK. Each student gets 2 N95 masks. UK plans to announce a booster shot incentive program. Okay, so how does a free flight sound? Sounds good, right? The Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Airport is giving away free travel to celebrate its 75th anniversary. So CVG is holding a year-long Travel Dreams sweepstakes. One winner will be drawn each and every month. The prize for January is 2 round-trip tickets from American Airlines. Other monthly winners have a shot at a minimum $500 travel voucher for a flight from the airport. To enter, head to CVG's website. Have you entered yet, Mo Rose?
Hold on, CVG.com. Anywhere warm, please. Take me now, because it is cold out there. We are currently at 29 degrees, but it feels closer to 23. The good news is you won't have to go too far to get some milder air. That arrives tomorrow, but it's only sticking around for a day. Then we've got late week chilly temperatures for the weekend, and we're also looking at some snow chances. I'll have those details coming up.
It's a little surreal sometimes, but it's a cool feeling, and I don't know if it's even really hit me yet that this is the year I can try to make that dream come true.
And they're all working toward the same goal, to bobsled at the Olympics in Beijing. Coming up, we meet the team and hear about their unusual road to the sport. America's patience for robocalls is wearing thin. These are the worst, huh? The Federal Trade Commission reports it received more than 5 million complaints over breaches to the Do Not Call registry last year. The biggest gripes, callers posing as a government official or even a family member. Offers for warranties and debt relief were reoccurring annoyances as well. The FAA is restricting the new 5G spectrum at some of the country's busiest airports. That ban lasts for at least 6 months because of potential signal interference with aircraft instruments. Experts regard the likelihood of such interference as really low. Still, airports including JFK, LAX, and O'Hare will enforce a 5G buffer around that property. Other busy airports like Atlanta, Boston, and Washington, D.C. will not restrict 5G. Verizon and AT&T plan to switch on their 5G networks next Wednesday. Another COVID vaccine maker says it will soon seek FDA approval, and a new survey shows the struggles of cooking from home. Diane King Hall has more now from New York.
Starting this Saturday, Americans can be reimbursed for rapid COVID-19 tests. Under the new rule, the Biden administration is requiring insurers to reimburse Americans for 8 tests per month per person. The new requirement covers any approved over-the-counter rapid tests such as FlowFlex and BinaxNOW. Novavax could be moving closer to a green light for its coronavirus vaccine. The vaccine maker says it has filed for emergency use authorization with nearly a dozen regulatory agencies globally. Here in the U.S., it submitted its final data on New Year's Eve and says it will file its full application for emergency use authorization soon. It's job versus the jab at JPMorgan Chase for some workers. CEO Jamie Dimon says the company won't pay people not to work in the office and that it wants workers to get vaccinated.